When Teddy Feinberg starts talking about leaving me, I get really sad.
You know what? That means a lot to me, Trev. I'm sorry I have to talk about leaving you, but I'm glad you get sad about it. Seriously, that's awesome, man.
On that note, welcome back to our final segment of the first football preview show of the year. Special day here. I am Trevor Horn. This is the BVarsity Live Preview Show brought to you by Grapevine, MSP, Tech Services, and Motor City GMC Buick. Josh Bennett.
Smooth.
John Mettus.
He's hesitated again.
I don't know why I'm doing that today. And you already saw the beautiful Teddy Feinberg over there. Let's run through these really quickly before we get to the big games. First one up here, West, a team that went to the quarterfinals last year in the playoffs in Division III after beating Highland in that thriller, going up against a team, Mission Oak, that went 0-10 last year. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just go ahead and say this. West is going to win 34-13.
Yeah, I mean, West will win 27-21. The only thing about West, though, is that Gabriel Salcido is not there anymore. He graduated.
Neither is Anthony Ramirez, who's now at Ridgeview.
Yep. So
neither is Dante Mason. He's at BC.
Those are some tough losses.
They are, but they do have a good core returning. The only problem is with their triple option offense, relying on the quarterback. So we'll see how the new quarterback plays. Mission Oak, they did go 0-10, but they had a handful of one-score losses, so they weren't really a bad 0-10, just an unlucky one.
But the other losses were bad.
They were. But
but then again, much like Delano, they were going up against the likes of Tulare Union and Tulare Western in league play.
But West will win.
Well, and West can relate to that 0-10 season. They were 1-9 2 years ago.
Yeah, they were.
But I'm going to pick West because West was the first game I covered when I came here. Got to go out to West.
Actually, I think they were 1-8 last year because they lost a game that year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll go West for sure.
I'm not trying to discount you.
No,
I was just
good.
remembering. I was like, yeah, there was a missed game there last year. I love this game coming up. This is an old school county rivalry. Wasco on the road at Tehachapi. Wasco new head coach, Chad Martinez, kind of switching it up a little bit. But they're still going to have the triple option on the offense. Tehachapi always runs the wing tee. Doug DeGear is not really straying too far from what Steve Denman did for 34 years and 300 wins up for the Warriors. It's a weird week, though. They have the Mountain Festival going on. It's the first week of school. There's a lot of distractions, but it also means there's going to be a lot of festivities going on. And I think that even adds to this game and to the tradition of this rivalry here between these two schools.
Attendance.
Oh, yeah.
Should be a great attendance, yeah. I mean, I'm really excited about this one. Wish I could go up on the hill, maybe get out of the heat for a little bit. But Wasco's going to go up there. They're going to play the Warriors tough. But even though there is still some question marks on, who's going to play where for Tehachapi and the fact that their line isn't that big, I think Doug DeGear's got him ready. I think this is going to be a really close game. You could almost call it a toss-up game. I've got Tehachapi winning in a very tight one, 21-14. Josh, you don't think that as much.
No. Well, first, I think this will be one of these games that might end in 2 hours or less because these teams just love to run the ball and the clock's not going to stop ever.
I love that kind of football.
Yeah, you do.
But
as long as it doesn't end in a tie, right, Mettus?
Yeah. But yeah, Tehachapi's returning their two top running backs. Wasco's returning a senior back, and then they have a core of sophomores on their team. So I think the experience will edge out here, and I think Tehachapi wins 38-17.
Mettus.
Give me Tehachapi.
Like Tehachapi, too, on my end. They finished last year strong. I think they carry that over into this year.
Yeah, and I think the jitters Doug DeGear had of replacing Denman are gone now. It's his
for sure.
team.
Yeah, they rounded into form late in
Yeah.
the year. Trevor articulated that in the tab preview.
Although I think he said on the coach's show that you never really get out of that shadow.
Well, you never get out of the shower, but I think the jitters of just, the first time that you're ever
I think actually DeGear.
What?
I think Coach DeGear even said, he's like, look, honestly, I'm not even totally. He did a very good job there last year.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You also
But he's a good
shower,
coach.
not shadow.
But I think just being a head coach is tough because you got to realize all the administrative stuff you
of
have to
course.
do, all
Yeah.
that stuff you have to deal with parents that you just don't deal with as an assistant coach.
No.
Moving on, a game of two teams that probably could go deep in the playoffs this year. South is at Independence South, a team down year. If you think about what Kerry Mills has been able to do with the Rebels over the last 5 years, they went 5-5 last year, but that does also include a playoff game because they only played 9 regular season games.
Yep.
They lost in the first round. Independence won a school record 7 wins last year, but Lucas Lucero leaves the program as a head coach in May, and they hire Tyler Schulhabel, and he takes over the summer, but I think he's got a returning quarterback and Sergio Borelli. He's got weapons of Malik Duluth. I think that there's a lot of good things happening with Independence. I think South, Josh, you alluded to earlier, that's a team that has a lot of firepower coming back. Just something about this game makes me say I think the Falcons really kind of round into form earlier than the Rebels do. And I've got Independence winning this one 28-20.
Yeah, this was actually a toss-up for me. I honestly could go either way. Like I said, South returns a lot of their starters. Coach Joe Halbo, his first game with the Falcons, of course, and as people know, the first game is always the hardest. But I think I got to give the edge of the experience, and I have South winning 28-24.
Mettus.
I think Independence has this one.
Okay.
Agreed. Tough game. I am going to go with South and just the continuity they have with Coach Mills back. I'm going South on the road.
Okay, let's move on. Golden Valley East, 2 teams, new head coaches. A lot of intrigue here. Not really sure what to make of either one of them. They're no longer in the SOIL together with SEYL, or with East moving to the SEYL. I've got Golden Valley under first-year head coach Josh Bacher with a little bit more firepower on their team, winning this one 21-14.
Yeah, this was another toss-up for me. Golden Valley did beat East last year to end the season by a point, but I think the Blades have enough returning players and enough experience there to eke out a 21-20 win.
Didn't East score all their points in the fourth quarter in that one?
They probably did. It's been a while.
But anyway, I was out at Golden Valley's practice at the first day. They've got some players that Coach Bacher thinks will be really talented guys, but a lot of them are new or in much bigger roles than in the past. So I think it's going to take them some time to get into that. I'm going to take East in this one.
And I as well, I'm actually going to go East here. I like the Grider. I like both hires. Coach Bacher's young guy. I really like the Grider hire at East an awful lot. I'm going to take East week 1 at home.
Okay, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this now. You have Ridgeview here, number 9 team in our preseason rankings. They're at home taking on Stockdale once again in the season opener. Stockdale, here's a team that I don't really know how good they're going to be because they have to get a whole new offensive line. They have a new quarterback they have to bring in. They do have some great players with an Evan Burkhardt or a Brandon Dunn. But when you look at Ridgeview, this team really does remind me much of what they had in 2014, 2015. 2 teams that had a combined 25 wins in those two years. I mean, you look at Taj Wright and Justin Henzo, quarterback, and then Taj can do whatever he wants to do at any other position. And defensive, they play the same. Elijah Alexander Williams, Dalen DeGraffrey, Anthony Ramirez. You go down the line. Jolly Burris on the D line. I mean, there's just some dudes on this team, and I think that we're going to see a Ridgeview team that went 6-5 last year, lost to Clovis in the first round of the D1 playoffs. First time they haven't made it to a Central Section championship game since 2010. 6 straight years, Central Section championships in D3 or D2. They won 3 of them, including 2 consecutive D2 in 2014, 2015. This is a rebuilt year. I wrote about it earlier this week, Teddy. I may have Ridgeview way too low here in the rankings, and they're probably going to shoot up really quickly, especially when they have BHS on the docket here in August.
It's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
From what I saw at a Ridgeview on Friday against Centennial in the scrimmage, Ridgeview's a really good football team. I don't think this one's going to be close, and I like Brett Shelton. Congratulations to him and his wife on Bodie, their second son born this week, 8 pounds 10 ounces, and already benches 245. So congratulations to that kid. But I think that's about the highlight of this week for Stockdale because I don't really think they have much of a chance here. Sorry, Mustangs. I've got Ridgeview winning this one 42-13.
Yeah, I mean, basically everything Trevor said. That's basically what I put in a short about way
Don't tell him
on
he's
my
right.
notes here. But
I'm right here. I can hear everything.
yeah, I mean, Stockdale, they had a bad year last year, and obviously they're trying to turn things around, but against Ridgeview is not the way to do that.
We're going to go past 3 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen, because it deserves it, but I know Teddy's got to bounce here in a minute.
This is my last pick.
Okay, let's go ahead and hear it from you.
38-20 Ridgeview.
Well, John, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Ridgeview has too much talent. Ridgeview.
Okay.
Ridgeview straight nasty. I agree with you. Really looking forward to their game against BHS this year. I like Ridgeview in this one for sure.
Bye, Ted.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thank you. You will see Teddy Friday night on the post-game show he will be hosting, like I said. Thank you, Teddy, for showing up. Go do boss things now. Bye.
See you guys.
All right, next up, you have the Mission Bowl here. Bakersfield Christian on the road at Garces Friday night. I like both of these teams. I think they both have a lot of talent. Bakersfield Christian, like I said, they're going to go with a 2-quarterback set with Jake Moran. God, Josh is his older brother. You have Jake Moran going up against Joseph Campbell, and the Rams this week. There's a lot of talent on both sides of the ball here. I mean, Bakersfield Christian brings back a whole bunch, and it's kind of predicated on Ben Urosic and Keontae Glinton, but they still got
Alex Wallace,
Myron Randall. I mean, you go down the line, they got a great offensive line. Elijah Fisher kind of leads that. Tate Enningenberg.
There you go.
But I think there's a lot of talent on that football team. Chris Gutierrez, I don't know if we mentioned him, but you look at Garces, Isaiah Bell, Emmanuel Castro leads a very good offensive line. But they've got to find a new running back.
Yeah, I was going to say they got to replace Isaiah Martin.
Isaiah Martin, a 4-year starter, school record holder in rushing yards, and I think that kind of predicates itself on Bakersfield Christian edging this one out. I got it very close. I know Kim Harper, the volleyball coach over at Garces, wasn't too happy with this, but that's how I pick it. Kim, sorry, I have BCHS edging the Rams out here 35-33.
Yeah, I alluded earlier, Tehachapi Wasco might be a 2-hour game. This one might be a 3-hour game. These teams are just going to be tossing the ball around all over the place.
Yep.
Obviously, the big question here is how Garces replaces Martin and how BCHS replaces Wingle. But I think BCHS is too much talent. They got that 4-headed receiving monster. They'll win 34-21.
Mettus.
BCHS. I think Ben Urosic's going to be the difference.
Yeah, I do too. That guy is. It sounds like you're awesome, and he's pretty awesome at playing football and basketball.
On offense and defense.
Yep. Moving on, we're going to try to go quickly through these last few, but make sure that we get as much in as possible. Number 20, Sunnyside out of Fresno at Frontier. Frontier, a team that started 5-0 last year, stumbled through with 2 wins in the SWIL, and then lost in the quarterfinals, which was their first round game to Garces before Garces lost to eventual section champs Tulare Union. Frontier needs to replace a bunch of stuff, but they got some dudes back. But I think Sunnyside is just a little bit better here. I've got Sunnyside winning this one 24-21.
This is an early D2 showdown. I think it'll have implications going into November, the winner of this game. Coach Bandy is doing a great job at Frontier. I think he's instilled a winning culture that's been missing there since the school's been built. And, these returning kids know how to start good early, and I think Frontier gets the job done 31-21.
Okay.
Give me Frontier.
All right. You guys both disagree with me. Whatever.
Not the first time.
Yep. Won't be the last.
Okay.
This is called now the Turk Iliadis rivalry game for obvious reasons. Kern High School District redrew some of the boundaries. So you've got former Centennial neighborhoods are now North High neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. So there's rivalries probably within the same households at this point now.
Yeah.
So you've got Centennial playing at North. Centennial team that only went 2-8, did not make the playoffs for the second year in a row. Graduated 32 seniors, but they bring back so much raw talent. Smaller offensive line than we've seen out of the Golden Hawks in recent years. North. Team that has to replace school record holder Bailey West at quarterback, but they bring it back a ton.
Yeah.
Chris Romero comes back, linebacker, running back. James Johnson, big time 2-way star for the Stars.
Even though Cole Fields hasn't played, he backed up Bailey West. He knows the offense.
He does. Shannon Ferguson was expected to be the starter, but he's got a broken hand. Yep. He's not going to play. Michael Dolan, who
condolences.
Michael Dolan, who it had started at points last year for East when Rich Alara was hurt. He transfers over, but he can't play the first 5 weeks of this season.
Right.
So he's not available. So Cole Fields thrown right into the fire here. This is the big game in Oildale. I liked what I saw at a Centennial last Friday. I think they got some good pieces there. I think Kyle Conley's a really good quarterback. Ty Glass is a really good running back. Their defense, led by Fresno State commit Colby Warrington and Grant Bloom, very good. That's what I see is the big factor here. Centennial team that only went 2-8 last year gets their first win on the road, 28-21 over North.
First, I just want to say it's glad to see these two teams face each other again. It's been too long that they haven't. There's really no reason for that. So
you can thank Coach Brown, and I'm not going to say which one.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad they're playing again. This is actually Chad Brown's homecoming. He was at North before going to Centennial, but legally obligated probably to never pick against the Stars again. But realistically, North is trying to overcome their slow starts, and Centennial just had a very forgettable year.
Every time they win, I'm going to put that little tiny helmet on your head and take a picture and put it on Twitter.
Okay, do it.
Okay.
And Centennial just never got out of the blocks, and I think they'll be better this year, but I don't know if they're better immediately. So I think North wins 42-38 in a shootout.
I've got somebody outside of this office promising me that Centennial's going to win, so I'm going to go Centennial.
I know who that dude is.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the big one down in Orange County on Friday night. Liberty, team that went 6-5 and lost to BHS in the quarterfinals after beating BHS and winning the outright SYL title last year. They bring back a ton, especially where it matters most, in the trenches. But they're going up against a Mission Viejo team that's got even more back. I mean, Mission Viejo is ranked number 6 in the state by Cal High. They're ranked number 5 in the state by Max Prep.
13th nationally.
13th nationally. I mean, the Diablos are loaded. Yes, they lose Bob Johnson, who was number 3 all-time in wins in California state history. He retired, but here comes Chad Johnson. No relation to Bob Johnson, nor is he Ocho Cinco. But he brings back just an absolute ton. I mean, this is a game that could get out of the way really early. But if Liberty can run the ball and maintain the clock, they could probably keep this one close. Liberty is going to be a very good football team. They've got a really big D1 schedule coming up in the central section. They've got Ridgeview on the docket, Clovis North, Clovis West, Buchanan on there, and you look at what they're going to be able to do against the central section. I just don't know if they can do it against a team like Mission Viejo, who is one of the top 5 teams in Southern California this year. They've played down there before. The last time they played in this stadium, they beat Mission Viejo. Stavros Katsantonis is going in his final year up at British Columbia University. Picked up that scoop and score to beat them. Really kind of stunned the Diablos that year in 2014. I don't know if that's going to happen this year, especially against a team that's led by Reese Height, who is an Arizona State commit. Big senior class for the Diablos. I've got it probably too close. I've got a 28-21 Mission Viejo. Josh, you don't think it's going to be that close?
No, I got 55-21, although probably a lot of those would be garbage time points. But I look back to Liberty playing Oaks Christian last year. I think it'll be a somewhat similar game to that, where they'll hang, but it won't be enough. So kudos to Liberty playing the big boys, but I mean,
thanks for the beach trip, guys.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to happen.
This game will be beneficial for Liberty in the long run, just not in the win-loss column in the first week.
And the nice thing about the way that state playoffs is predicated now, you don't have to go undefeated to get to state playoffs anymore. All you have to do is win your central section title. So really, I mean, if you're going to look at it, these games are glorified scrimmages. They give you a chance to win, but they also give you a better chance to understand who you are before league play starts, before the playoffs start. And that's when it really matters. Go out and play teams. And that's the great thing about the way it's set up. You win a section title, you move on to the state playoffs. It doesn't matter. Liberty showed it before. They had 4 losses in the regular season in 2015 when the Central Section title, and it did not matter. They still went out and played, and they nearly beat Del Oro when they probably should have beat that game. And they were going to be a 4-loss team playing for state championship. And so, I mean, I think Brian Nixon has really kind of predicated that. But
it's a good way to see how your team hangs with the big boys and see where they are.
Finally, our last game here, the game that is the reason why we're doing this show today and not tomorrow. BHS playing at Servite, a team from the Trinity League. BHS, we talked about them before. I don't think we really need to talk about them any more than what we've already done. Servite is a team. They've got a new head coach, a former head coach, but this is a team that really kind of, we don't know what we're going to get out of the Friars. We know that they've got a bunch of dudes. They know they got transfers. Everybody always does. But you got to kind of figure out, you are wondering what's going to happen here with Servite. But what I like is BHS is a strong defensive team.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really going to predicate it into it. BHS took their lumps. You know what they did this week? They watched their Valencia loss from last year. And they all sat there, and I was told that they all sat there and went, we're not going to play like that ever again. Paul Gola said that he failed as a head coach last year, getting them prepared last year with heat exhaustion, with them not being conditioned. And he said he went back to the basics and got them in the right spot. So I think BHS starts off what could be a very, very good football season for them this year with a win. I've got it close, 35-34.
BHS could win this. I mean, there's the very good chance that they have a great defensive core. They've just been very hit or miss with these neutral site games. It's like you don't know which BHS team is going to show up, especially this early. Are they going to be well prepared? Or it sounds like they are, but how's it going to translate to the field? I got Servite winning 45-28, but, it could be a lot closer than that.
Mettus?
Servite.
Okay. All right. Well, the great thing about it is we can sit here and pontificate all we want.
And it doesn't matter what we say.
It doesn't matter what we say. The games start tomorrow.
But you still should read it.
Yeah.
Please
still
do
read
that.
it. Still watch it. It gives you good insight. That's what we're here for. It is a great discussion piece. This is why we spend so much time doing this for you. Before we go, just into a couple non-football news and notes. Frank Thiessen, longtime area tennis coach, football coach, basketball coach, has finally retired. As far as we know, he is not coaching this year. Girls basketball or boys or girls tennis. That was just announced earlier this week. So Frank Thiessen, who has long been a part of Kern County, starting from his days at Fowler before he moved in and coached at Wasco for a long time, and then he has won numerous section titles in boys and girls tennis, has stepped down and is not coaching high school sports for the first time in more than 50 years. Frank, a Bob Elias Hall of Famer for good reason and one of the good guys out there. So we will really miss him out there on the courts, and that's tennis and basketball courts this year.
Great guy to watch a tennis match with.
The best. And then finally, also in basketball news, RJ Banks, a first-team all-area selection last year as a junior at Bakersfield High, has transferred. He is now enrolled at Cathedral High School in Los Angeles. That's a big blow to the Drillers and to the basketball community, especially this year as one of the was one of the front runners for the BVarsity Player of the Year, along with the likes of Isaiah Hill, Kadar Waller, Squid, Turner over at Foothill. But RJ Banks gone. It's the nature of the beast. AAU sometimes kind of gets in the way there sometimes, and they think that they need to, break out and move to other places. It's the nature of transfers this year. It just happens to be that he's not in Kern County anymore. So RJ Banks is going to be at Cathedral High School in Los Angeles now for his senior year in high school basketball. I think that's it. A couple house cleaning things. A reminder, Friday night is our BVarsity postgame show. It'll start right around 11:15. We put the paper to bed around 11:10. John and Teddy are going to jump in here and give you everything. I will call in from the road after the first Friday night of football season that hopefully will last until December. The Central Section Championship games are now the Friday after Thanksgiving. That's why everything got moved up. That's why you're watching football on August 16th and August 17th instead of the last week in August. BVarsity Nightly returns on Tuesday, 10 o'clock. We will volleyball action. We'll have cross country. We'll have girls golf. We'll have water polo in on the show. It's not just football here. We do all sports here in Kern County. And then BVarsity Live Preview Show will return to its normal time and place, 2 o'clock next Thursday. Don't forget, your daily edition of the California tomorrow has this puppy in it. It is our 2018 40-page football preview. It's got team pages of all the teams in Kern County. Across the board, great stories in the front, great design by Josh Bennett, by Glenn Hammett, by Pete Menting and Ron Stapp. Great reporting by John Mettus, and Steve Lynch, and Teddy Feinberg, and some dude named Trevor, whatever. A lot of great social media stuff coming, a lot of great visual and digital aspects. That comes from our digital director, Diana Rodriguez. For Teddy Feinberg, for Josh Bennett, for John Mettus, for Diana, I'm Trevor Horn. Thank you guys. We're glad to be back. Post-game show Friday right here, 11:15. See you then. Bye-bye.